Okay, well, let's get started. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Hi, good morning everyone.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning,
How are you
ma'am.
today?
Morning, ma'am.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
Right. So today we are going to proceed with our next materials. In previous meeting, we discussed about listening. So how was the post activity in previous meeting? How was it? Have you done the activities in post activity in the
Yes.
last? Yes.
Yes.
How was it? Was it new format for you or just a normal?
Normal.
It's
Normal.
normal. Okay.
Normal.
Right. So now we move into our next materials. It is on speaking. So in pre-activity, you've done two activities. The first one, it is warming up activity. I would like to brainstorm some of the ideas how you went to your speaking classes. So I got the ideas of this one. So let me share this screen. Let me just brainstorm some of the ideas you wrote here. So some of you wrote about pronunciation. So it was good on pronunciations, and also you noted some of the fluency, other than pronunciation, fluency, and also speaking confidence. It's about motivations, whether you are confident enough or feel anxious to speak English, or and others, some of the teaching method that your lecturer used in previous speaking activities. Well, it's good. Thank you for the brainstorming. Now, any one of you want to share your ideas of teaching speaking class activity orally? Any one of you, maybe one or two? Ada di antara teman-teman mau share kira-kira secara oral? How was it? Anyone? Can I ask Mas Reza Fahlevi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How was your speaking class?
Well, good, I think.
It's very general. Good. Please
Yes.
remarks on 1 point or 2 points.
I think it's good, and
In terms of, it is good in terms of.
to improve my pronunciation.
All right. Anything else?
But not all the method that the lecturer using is I can understand well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I just repeat the way of study.
All right.
Saya
Okay.
diulang-ulang aja, ma'am.
Okay. So that's it, Mas Reza Fahlevi. So now let's come to Mbak Tasha Tariza. Can you bring us some points from your speaking class? Tasha?
Tes.
Yes.
For me, wait a minute, miss. First thing that have must improve from the speaking class that I've joined is from the student itself. Sometimes the students does not pay attention too much to the lecturer, and there are some students that not pay attention to the method that teacher gives. So it is make they self feels difficult. Jadi lebih susah ke dirinya sendiri karena nggak memperhatikan how we talk and do speaking, dari pronunciation, flexibility, and the other things. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So from student side, yeah, right. So so that's pretty much how you did speaking class. So now let's move to the next activity. It was on video analysis. What do you think the video about? What was it about?
The video was telling us about um, the way how to teach speaking, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Like there are so many ways. The first way is to picture what they've seen. Like for example, if I'm wearing blue shirt, then you should mention it. Like he's wearing a blue shirt, something like that. And then for the second, what is it? SMP man. For the junior high school, they were talking about their interest about manager, that kind of stuff. I forgot what topic was it. And then yeah, I think that's all I cover, man.
Okay, thank you, Mas
all I can cover.
Bagus. Yes. So next, any one of you? One more students, I think.
Me, ma'am? May I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Me, Murtari, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, please. Siapa dulu? Mbak Lisa dulu, nggak apa-apa.
Okay, so the video is about like methods to teaching English. The method is good because that there is correction or feedbacks. It's good that because speaking is our oral communication in daily, right? So when there's a wrong words or sentences or even pronunciation, so directly the teacher will give a feedbacks and make it clear. And I mentioned, I saw in the video in the junior high school, I think, that there is group or peer discussion before they talk directly to the teacher. So it's good because I ever heard in the SLA system or something that teaching English must be easy. So when the method like that, we have per our group discussion first, then we talk to our teacher. It is make us easy to learn English because from my experience that many of my friends has anxiety when they learn English because of they are directly appointed by the teacher. Jadi langsung kayak ditunjuk gitu. So panic. And for the primary school, it's good that they are using Aurelia paper and pictures and they will describe it. Yeah, it's good for me because they are basic students. So I also do that when I was at 9 when I had my private English course. So yeah, thank you.
Wow, great. Okay, thank you, Mbak Lisa Maharani. Do we have one more, Mbak Tari? Do you want to have your voice?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so from the video is one of the interesting things in the video is when students are asked to bring clothes, some clothes that will be used in class. It is a kind of a fashion event, but related to the learning context. So students can be asked to speak and mention what is it in their friend's body, like she is wearing a black shoes, and so on. And I think this can trigger their confidence to speak, but with a unique method. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Wow, thank you. So overall, thank you for the feedbacks. Actually, what we watch from the video is feedback, classroom feedback, how to give feedback for speaking. Do you reckon that it is crucial in teaching speaking that you teachers pay attention on when to give feedbacks? Is it directly? It is immediately when a student makes a mistake and we correct it immediately or later? And how? So that's basically the video was about. So giving feedback for teaching speaking. So giving feedback, for instance, maybe some of you make a mistake during your speaking and I corrected it immediately. What do you feel? Maybe some of you get offended and you don't want to speak. So that's the idea of giving feedback. So we need to take care of when and how to give feedback. So that's the idea of the video. Later you can rewatch and you can pay more detail into what is actually the points from the video. It is giving feedback in speaking. Well, thank you. So now let's move to the next main materials. It is about teaching speaking. So if you look at your handbook on Selse Murcia, so it is on page 100 and wait a minute, let me share the screen. Selse Murcia, okay. So here we go. Second language speaking. Oh. So there is key questions here. Let's have it for discussions. The first question is that in teaching speaking, which is more important, a focus on fluency or on accuracy? Which one do you think? So there is a discussions. Which one is more important? Is it focusing on fluency or accuracy? What do you think? Is it more on fluency or accuracy? What is accuracy? What is fluency?
Ketepatan.
Yes. What is fluency?
Kelancaran.
Yes. So it is the flow of your speaking. It is fluency. Do you speak fluently? So it is fluency. There is no pause. There is no obstruction. So it is called fluency. Well, about accuracy, it is in terms of grammatical accuracy. So some expressions used and also some grammatical structure. So it's more on accuracy. Which one do you think? Which one do you want? If you attend a speaking class, which one is become your focus? Is it fluency or accuracy?
Fluency.
Fluency. Okay. So it is not grammatical class. So you want fluency. Yes. So the second one. Yes. So yeah. Right. So it is fluency, the main focus, but then teacher will also give some points on feedback, maybe corrective feedback on your on students' grammatical issue, maybe later at the end. So the second key questions is how can teacher promote authentic oral communications in the second language class, and what considerations go into planning and teaching a speaking course. So let's discuss it here. So there is an experience. Here is an English teacher, an English a second language tutor in journal she is keeping for the Her Method class writes the following. I'm tutoring a student from South America who hired me to help him improve his oral accuracy. Although he feels he is making great progress, I feel that he pays attention only to his fluency and has made no progress at all with his grammatical accuracy. I have pointed this out to him, have tried using more accuracy-based activities, and have even talked to this classroom teacher, but to no avail. Is there anything I can do to keep my expectations in line? So, ternyata tidak hanya fluency, tapi yang ingin difokuskan juga accuracy. What is actually involved in teaching second language speaking? When queried is basically questions, yeah. When queried about competence in other languages, it would certainly sound odd to be asked. Kalau Anda ditanya tentang kompetensi Anda berbahasa, frase yang digunakan atau ekspresi yang digunakan bukan how many languages do you write? Bukan begitu ya. Atau question seperti how many languages can you understand or read makes more sense. Ini lebih make sense daripada yang pertama ya. Ini kok masih ada yang ngisi Padletnya. How many languages do you write? Tidak begitu, atau tidak juga how many languages can you understand or read. Padahal highest language skill mastered by someone is actually writing. Tapi yang ditanya kalau Anda kelihatan if you are able to master one language, foreign language, the question is not this one. But overwhelmingly, the question put to us is how many languages do you speak? Jadi seseorang kelihatan ahli dalam suatu bahasa itu bukan karena skill lain, tapi yang ditekankan adalah speaking. But actually, we know some of the students, some of us, good at speaking, but they They have issues with writing, issues with reading or listening even. But what people see is not on the other skills, but speaking. In fact, speaking is considered by many to be the fundamental skills in second language learning. Then what are often referred to as the productive approaches to language teaching? Productive approach language teaching yang saat ini bertahan sampai saat ini ya, namanya CLT, Communicative Language Teaching. Dan juga silent way, tapi jarang digunakannya silent way, and even audiolingual approach. Speaking is the main skill by which a language is acquired, and it is almost certainly so at the beginning level. Likewise, much second language acquisition research is based on data collections. Nah ini sekedar intro bagaimana speaking itu penting. Makanya sekarang FLSP itu dititik tekankannya pada speaking. Karena ternyata ya itu tadi ada judgement bahwa seseorang dikatakan mampu berbahasa Inggris itu ketika speakingnya bagus. Oke. Yes. Is anyone speaking? No, okay. Right, so this is the act of speaking is strangely complex. According to Brown, a number of the characteristics of speaking lead to this complexity. This include clustering. Speech is segmented into thought groups rather than single words. Jadi kalau berbicara itu sebenarnya adalah speech is segmented into thought groups rather than single word. Jadi tidak kata per kata begitu, tapi chunk biasanya begitu. And even single words may be contracted. Hesitation markers and pausing itu juga termasuk itu. Lalu colloquial language, colloquial including slangs, idioms, and suprasegmental features such as stress, rhythm, intonations. Jadi tidak hanya aspek akurasi, tapi juga speaking itu lebih kompleks, apalagi tentang ada discourse markers, ada pausing, ada colloquial language seperti slang dan idioms, dan juga stress, rhythm, intonations. So it affects the speaking skills. Okay, the next one. So this is the conceptual underpinning. What is a conceptual underpinning? Konsep yang melatar belakangi speaking ya. So conceptual underpinning, the section consider 4 factors that are at the foundations of competent of L2 speakings. Apa saja aspek yang meliputi kemampuan berbahasa kedua dalam speaking ya. Pertama adalah fluency, kelancaran. So it is basically the flow of your speaking. I got one Indian friend, satu teman dari India. She has very strong accents of Indian accent. If you reckon Indians has very strong accents, but then they are fluent. Walaupun aksennya India itu, kalau Anda amati ya nanti orang-orang India itu aksennya kental sekali, begitu. Tapi fluensinya sangat bagus. But they are fluent in English, even though it's hard for us maybe to catch up with the accent. And then accuracy. It is also accuracy if you think that it is not the focus, but actually accuracy is also important in speaking. So the next one is appropriacy. Appropriacy is depends on context or pragmatic issue. And the next one is authenticity. What is authenticity? It derives from the word authentic. So it is authenticity. Jadi pembelajarannya harus authentic. Kalau Anda baca-baca jurnal, so ada sekali authentic material yang digunakan untuk mengajar bahasa Inggris begitu. So there are 4 ideas or 4 aspects that consider in L2 speaking. So the first one, fluency, accuracy, appropriacy, and authenticity. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is fluency versus accuracy. Throughout the years, the then current positions taken on various dichotomies have guided on confuse the teacher of L2 speaking. For example, which is more important, a focus on fluency or on accuracy? So it becomes the discussions. Should one come before the other? Apakah fluency dulu baru diperhatikan akurasi atau akurasi dulu baru fluency? Gitu. How does this decision depend on the learners involved and their backgrounds, needs, and proficiency levels? Simple definitions of accuracy and fluency have been proposed by Edge and Garten. Accuracy in confirming to the language system itself. So basically it is grammatical functions. While fluency is operating the language system quickly. Ya, beda definisinya ini ya. Nanti kalau teman-teman mau punya research tentang akurasi dan fluency, so you can have these definitions. And then, according to Brown, the fluency or accuracy issue often boils down to the extent to which our technique should be message-oriented, as opposed to language-oriented. Apakah message-oriented atau language-oriented? Begitu. A related concern is choosing between speaking tasks that engender controlled language productions or those that encourage freer, more communicative speech. Yang penting berbicara saja tanpa grammatical rules. Begitu. Although we might expect recommendation for a balanced approach to accuracy and fluency, Brown's teaching methodology text and other use in training praise-first English, ESL or EFL teachers imply that this controversy is more or less settled. Sedangkan Paris points to fluency as the goal of instructions. Sedangkan si Paris ini bilang kalau fluency adalah a goal of instructions. Sedangkan Urs, ini nama peneliti ya, methodology text states in most cases the primary aims in teaching speaking is to improve students' fluency in informal conversations instructions. Sedangkan Nations and Newton suggest that as a rough rule, language-focused learning should not make up more than about 25% of the whole range of contact that learners have with the language. Jadi harus kontak dengan language, sama ini poinnya ke fluency. Jadi metodologi yang kita gunakan untuk mengajar dalam hal ini adalah speaking itu basisnya semuanya research dari pendapat-pendapat peneliti. Tadi ya, kebanyakan yang kita baca tadi apa? Fokusnya pada fluency begitu ya. They go on to remark that in ESL setting where there are many out of class opportunities for exposure to and practice with the L2, perhaps more time in class could be devoted to accuracy-based speaking activities. Sedangkan si ini ada yang mengatakan bahwa harusnya kesempatan berbicara tidak hanya dilakukan di kelas karena konteksnya kalau kita misalkan EFL learning, so speaking class is golden opportunity for students to speak up. So our focus maybe is not emphasized on accuracy but more on fluency. But this is suggested that for exposure, what is exposure? What is exposure? Dari kata expose ya. Untuk exposure maksudnya memberikan kesempatan lebih students to practice with L2, perhaps more time in class could be devoted to accuracy-based speaking activities. Jadi lebih baik difokuskan pada akurasi based speaking activities yang tekankan pada akurasi tadi. In contrast, where these opportunities are limited, kalau limited, as in EFL setting, fluency-based atau meaning-focused tasks merit more attention. Berarti kalau di konteks kita, yang cocok yang mana? Do we have ESL or EFL context?
EFL.
EFL context where limited opportunities given ya. Even we don't speak English beyond the classroom. Jangankan beyond classroom, dalam kelas saja kadang kita tidak berbicara bahasa Inggris begitu. So we have limited activities, limited opportunities to speak English. So it is suggested if it is limited, such as in EFL setting, fluency-based or meaning-focused tasks merit more attention. Of course, other factors come into play when making decisions about teaching L2 speaking or any other skills, and a need assessment should be the first step in designing and teaching an oral skill course. This issue is discussed later in the chapter. In either circumstance, it behoves that L2 teacher to look beyond the traditional classroom setting for the speaking opportunities. So it is suggested, other than looking at the opportunities, it is on ESL or EFL setting. It is good for teachers to do need assessment. Need assessment itu apa? What is need assessment? So students are assessed initially in the first, prior to the teaching activities. Teacher analyze what actually students need or assess students' competence. Need assessment can be done in various ways, such as through asking questions to the students. Tanya kepada mahasiswanya mau belajar apa, misalkan begitu. What do you want to learn? So, but the thing that I've done previously, that I asked my students for need analysis. For need analysis, there are three aspects: needs, wants, and lacks. Ada tiga aspek ya. Needs, wants, and lacks. Apa yang kurang dari siswa, bisa jadi siswanya nanti dikasih pretest, oh kurangnya apa, lebihnya apa. Lalu kemudian tadi apa? Wants, maunya apa. Kemudian need, butuhnya apa. Tapi ketika ditanya what do you want to learn in this semester, kacaunya apa? Mahasiswa tidak menjawab, mereka tidak tahu apa keinginan mereka begitu. So that's the worst case. So you will go any direction where I go? Yes. Yes, miss, I'll go anywhere you go. Okay, well, perfect. So that's the idea. Is it fluency or accuracy? What can you conclude from this? Fluency versus accuracy. So those two are important, but it depends on the circumstances. You as a future teachers, you need to assess, or you see the circumstances with whether you have opportunities to speak. Your student will have opportunities to speak up more inside the classroom, or also they have opportunities to have to speak beyond the classroom. Maybe other than the classroom activities, the school have such agenda like English Day, or even apa biasanya selain itu, or maybe the teacher in school set some days to speak English, English only on Monday and Thursday, for instance, or a thing like that. So it becomes the focus. It depends on the circumstances. So that's the thing from fluency versus accuracy. And then is there any questions, or you want to discuss fluency versus accuracy? It's all good. So appropriacy. Appropriacy is all about socio-cultural context. So it's about pragmatic. Kalau Anda sudah belajar pragmatic ya, kita ada syntax. What is syntax? Syntax, it deals about structure, grammatical structure, and then semantic. Semantic deals on meaning, the meaning used, and also pragmatic. Pragmatic, it depends on the context used, di mana bahasa itu digunakan. So appropriacy is all about socio-cultural context. Jadi harus memperhatikan socio-cultural. Or disebut dengan pragmatic. It is not enough for L2 speakers to be accurate and fluent. They must also be competent socially and culturally. Jadi tidak cukup, ini dikatakan tidak cukup hanya bagus secara grammatical use and also the fluency, but also students need to be socially and culturally competent. That is, L2 learners need to be able to communicate with the proper politeness, directness, and formality. Seperti itu ya, seperti kemarin yang digunakan apa? Skinny, he is skinny. So that sound not polite. So if you want to say slim, yeah, okay, other than skinny. And maybe what else? Have a seat other than sit down in formal setting. So that's about appropriacy, basically about the context where you speak English. So in Javanese, bahasa Jawa, yeah, maybe some of you are from Java. we know some of ngoko, kromo, inggil, terus apa lagi? So there is a hierarchy actually in the language used. So basically that's the idea of appropriacy. So then the most research area of pragmatic in applied linguistics is speech act. Speech act itu tindak tutur, which describe the way in which people carry out specific social functions like greeting, thanking, and disagreeing. Saya kira Anda belajar ini ya, how to greet, how to thank, and how to disagree on think. When you learn topics on debates, you will have some expressions to agree or disagree. Well, I agree with you, but in some extent, I have this point, blah, blah, blah. So that's the way how to use the language in terms of appropriacy. And then speech acts are composed of various strategies that speakers draw on to convey their intended meaning, and the selections of particular strategy will depend on variety of sociocultural factors. Apa saja faktor sosialnya, social distance, social status, and the nature of the speech act itself. So the next one, ini tentang pragmatik ya. You can go to Larson and Freeman in this volume to get deeper on what is actually pragmatic. And the next one is authenticity. Okay, so what is it actually, authenticity? Can you guess what is it? From the word of authentic.
Mungkin keaslian of
The one? Okay, so it is about the authentic materials. So we English speakers are encouraged to have authentic materials. What does it mean? That the text is taken from the authentic, we call it authentic, and it is English. It should be taken from English sources. I mean, from native speakers. Misalkan reading teksnya jadi harus dari misalkan ya dari Barat, tidak boleh tidak boleh dikreasikan sendiri begitu, karena ada isu di dalamnya. So let's discuss. A final sticking point for the teacher of L2 oral skills is the matter of authenticity at all stages of instructions. The construct of authenticity itself is slippery. Authentic for whom? Authentic untuk siapa? For what purpose? Tujuannya apa? And in what context? Other questions present themselves in this area. How and how much can teacher of L2 speaking provide meaningful context for authentic language use? Should controlled simple language be at the center of beginning level instructions? Apakah itu dikenalkan di beginning level? Or with the introductions of authentic materials, tasks, and language use gradually presented as proficiency level increases? Apa nanti setelah menguasai bahasa Inggris itu? Or should all input be authentic regardless of level? Following what I always tell my students, simplify the text, not simplify the task, not the text. Jadi ada tuntutan bahwa English teachers itu dianjurkan untuk menggunakan teks yang otentik begitu, yang misalkan diambil dari setting-setting yang ada di Barat, karena bahasa yang digunakan harapannya akan asli begitu, tidak misalkan tidak dibuat oleh gurunya begitu. Tapi ada debate juga apakah otentik itu harus dimulai di beginner ataukah nanti di intermediate level, atau semuanya harus pakai authentic materials regardless of the level of students' competence gitu. Tentative answers to this question like this are put forward in Roberts and Cook's study of linguistic minority migrant adults. They point to two meanings of authenticity. The first having to do with authentic teaching materials, and the second referring to issues of self-expressions and the development of authentic voice. Apakah hanya text-based materials atau juga dengan voice? Nah ini ada debate di situ. Seperti yang ditangkap oleh Elsie, sudah jam berapa ini kok sudah azan tarhim? Di Elsie itu Pak Mas Duki dan tim membuat test type. Teman-teman tentu sudah tahu ya. Have any one of you experienced to do type test?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is so different between type test and TOEFL test? In terms of listening tasks, do you reckon some difference? Tidak.
No.
No, so it's actually there is a difference. For me, maybe it is more difficult than TOEFL test karena listeningnya type itu diambil dari beberapa negara. Do you reckon this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Jadi ada yang aksennya Jerman, ada yang aksennya India, aksennya Cina, begitu. It is the idea of EIL, English as International Language. Jadi debate atau isunya adalah bahwasanya bahasa Inggris itu tidak harus didominasi oleh orang Barat, karena faktanya bahasa Inggris itu dipakai atau dibicara orang memakai bahasa Inggris itu lebih banyak di konteks non-English native speakers. Paham nggak maksudnya? Do you understand what I mean?
Paham, ma'am.
Paham ya? Jadi itu isunya nanti kalau teman-teman mau skripsi, jadi ada research itu namanya salah satu fokusnya adalah EIL, English as International Language. There is a belief that English should not be dominated by the Western country, which is spoken by native speakers, but it also should be directed in the international use. While in fact there are more speakers speaking English outside of the native speakers instead of the native speakers itself. Jadi kan lebih banyak bahasa Inggris itu digunakan untuk misalkan di Asia, di Eropa, untuk berkomunikasi secara internasional. Jadi tidak hanya didominasi oleh misalkan katakanlah di Inggris atau di Amerika begitu ya. So that's the idea. So then LC type itu menggunakan konsep EIL, English as International Language, that it is not only spoken by the British or the Americans, but it is also spoken in real life. We speak not only to native, but to Europeans, to Chinese, or even to siapa lagi? Asians. Ya, oke. Sesama orang Asia. Saya punya teman dari Malaysia lebih pusing ngobrol Melayu daripada ngobrol bahasa Inggris. Lebih mudah pakai bahasa Inggris daripada berbicara pakai bahasa misalkan bahasa Indonesia ya, karena we have lots of different meanings. Misalkan mereka bilang pusing-pusing, we associate pusing-pusing as headache, but then it has a different thing. It's better for me to speak English other than Malay. So that's the idea. So here is the authenticity. That's the debate. Apakah kita harus menggunakan materi yang otentik atau tidak? Gitu. So that's pretty much about authenticity. And also the authenticity has the discussions about this one. Bahwasanya kalau McCarthy and Carter proposed 10 baseline principles as a guide in the development of spoken grammar. For example, we do not speak in sentence, but in phrasal chains that demonstrate the clustering of words and phrases and that are connected by simple conjunctions like and, but. Misalkan, Anda di spoken form, we don't say, do you want to go with me? Do you want to go with me? But it's often we do this. Want to go with? Want to go with me? Or such as at. Do you see that at? That was an interesting at. I must go. It's like advertisement also markers or hesitation markers such as shorter, no, and like. So that's pretty much about authenticity. And also it is interesting when our first discussions, when I asked you about which one is should be the focus of teaching speaking, is it fluency or accuracy? Some of you say that it is fluency, and should not be on accuracy. Yes, actually, we focus more on fluency during our speaking class, not but regardless of the accuracy, we also point out some grammatical issues when students speak, but we correct it in the end of the teaching. Maybe before we close the material, we give some points or corrective feedback on the grammar issues. So that's pretty much. So also the pronunciations and intonations also involved in speaking activities. Karena terlihat sekali ya aksennya, misalkan Anda kemarin mengikuti kuliah tamu yang kuliah tamu salah satu lecturenya dari Filipina ya kalau nggak salah.
Yeah.
So she has very strong accents like revolution, education. So then some of the tidak bisa mengucapkan, bukan tidak bisa karena that's the accents actually. And if you are in later, if you have opportunity to study abroad, your speaking skill becomes the center of attention. Jadi kemampuan speaking Anda itu menjadi perhatian begitu. Saya pernah di bus itu, I did my master in Sydney, and when I was in public transport in bus, ada for your information that I was expecting like meeting foreign students in Sydney, but then surprisingly there are more Chinese. Ternyata orang-orang Cina justru malah banyak. So universitas saya itu namanya UNSW. So it's actually University of New South Wales, tapi diplesetkan menjadi You Never See Whites gitu, asosiasinya kepada Barat, karena there are more Chinese students than the natives itself. Karena banyak Cinanya, karena Sydney itu termasuk CBD ya, Central Business District. Banyak Cina, banyak orang-orang Cina, karena salah satunya mau selain studi juga nantinya ingin sekolah begitu. Di public transport kelihatan sekali native itu merendahkan orang-orang Cina karena aksennya yang sangat-sangat strong. Padahal ada satu diskusi menarik di salah satu mata kuliah saya, judul mata kuliahnya adalah Issues in Language Teachings. Tidak boleh kita merendahkan mereka, orang-orang Cina. Jadi salah kalau orang-orang Barat itu merendahkan Cina. In fact, there are more Chinese who are able to speak English than the than the native speakers are able to speak Chinese. Ya bukan? Ternyata tidak boleh merendahkan itu karena aksen ya, karena aksen itu memang sangat sulit. Mungkin ternyata faktanya lebih banyak orang Cina yang bisa berbahasa Inggris daripada orang Inggris yang bisa berbahasa Cina, karena in fact Mandarin is quite difficult. Anyone of you learn Mandarin? Nggak ada ya, because this is intonation language, tone language, karena ada tone membedakan arti dari tone. Ma itu kan sudah berbeda arti ya. We are not used to, kita orang Indonesia mungkin tidak terbiasa dengan itu. We distinguish meaning through sentence, through word, but they distinguish meaning through tone. Mungkin bahasa-bahasa serumpun dengan Cina juga begitu, tone. Seperti Thailand mungkin juga begitu. So that's any questions from you? Kita ke hari ini, we discuss about conceptual underpinning tentang speaking dulu. Next meeting we discuss about practical thing, how to teach speaking. Any questions? It's all good? Okay, so there is one post activity left for you to discuss. It's simple questions. Basically, what do you learn from today's material? That's it. Okay. If there is no questions, I would like to end the sessions here. See you next Thursday, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, ma'am.